a rural area of Kentucky here in Sonora. Full of farm fields and tractors. But down the road, there are more questions than answers. After a Hardin County man died, he was bruised, beaten, and bitten by a police canine and tased.
He is at 2059 Nolan Road.
This called a 911 on the evening of May 26, 2021.
Alex Clarke. He has been having kind of a psychotic episodes, talking to himself and this, that, and the other.
Pictures from the scene, blood-soaked clothes and towels, taser remnants on the porch.
Well, my 37-year-old daughter lives here on our property, and anyway, I went over. She asked me to come over and help her with some laundry. Her boyfriend has beat her up. There's blood on the step going into the trailer.
Alejandro Clarke, also known as Alex, lived here in this trailer.
He's kind of showing signs and symptoms of being mentally imbalanced.
With girlfriend Melissa Robinson.
He hit her on the nose, you could tell.
Okay.
Because it's all swollen and red. And she said he made her clean up the blood in the trailer. She's not there now. We got her out, and she's on her way driving herself to an emergency room. She said she was going to call the police, but she was scared to death.
But it's the police response to this call.
He is a convicted felon, out on parole. I want him out of here, and I don't ever want him to come back.
That is some questioning, why did Clarke die?
This was the most savage beating that I have seen in my 21 years of practicing this type of law.
WDRB dug through more than 600 pages of evidence, transcripts of police interviews, and autopsy reports. Officers say they had to hit Clarke repeatedly with their fists, boots, knees, elbows, and flashlights, tase him 4 times, and stick a canine on him 3 times to subdue him. That response led to this wrongful death federal lawsuit just filed against 2 Hardin County Sheriff's deputies and 3 Kentucky State Police troopers.
There's no reason for that amount of force to be used against an individual.
In a police interview, Hardin County Deputy Jacob Duke said Clarke tried to tackle him, so he fired his taser, hitting Clarke in his shoulder, cheek, and head. Autopsy photos show the injuries to his face and back.
At the end of it, he was struck by 3 tasers almost simultaneously. And they continued to shock him. And then after that, then they beat him, and the dog re-engaged.
You can see the open wounds from bite marks from the police canine decks.
How were they holding him? How were they beating him up?
There is multiple accounts for how he was positioned, but the story is that he was on the ground and that they were trying to pull his hands behind his back. There's no indication that Mr. Clarke swung his fist at them in any way as to strike them.
Records show the police encounter with 5 officers lasted about 15 minutes. Police say after the 3rd dog bite, they were able to handcuff Clarke.
Police paint a picture of he was beating his girlfriend, there was blood all over the place that they were living, and he was a danger, and they tried to stop him. What is your response to that?
My response to that is he was not, at the time that they encountered Mr. Clarke, he was not a danger to anybody. He was compliant. He was surrendering to them.
Clarke's girlfriend's mother, Elizabeth Vinson, tells WDRB, quote, "When I called the police, I never imagined the outcome. I don't believe Alex had any items of deadly force on him, so why the tasers? I understand the dog subdued him, so why the need for tasers?"
We only know what they did. We don't know why they did it, and that's one of the reasons for bringing the lawsuit.
How difficult is this case without body camera video?
That's a good question. Earlier in my career, it's something we dealt with all the time. It is a problem that the highest law enforcement agency in the Commonwealth of Kentucky does not have body cam, and neither does the Hardin County Sheriff's Office.
KSP says a new state budget that started July 1st now has the money to purchase body cameras and train about 650 officers. KSP says Clarke's case is still under investigation. Vincent tells WDRB her interaction with the officers was peaceful and brief, and they asked for a bottle of water for Alex and told her, quote, they were calling an ambulance to have him checked out, which seemed appropriate.
He should have been rushed to the hospital immediately, and they did not, and instead they turned him back over to police, which allowed him to sit in the back of a car for about 45 minutes unattended.
Clarke's autopsy report says the 37-year-old died of multiple complications following cardiac arrest due to multiple injuries from the arrest. He also had meth in his system.
He also mentioned George Floyd. He mentioned that several times, is what the officers were saying. What does that indicate to you?
It showed that he had fear about what was happening to him. And I believe he was saying, oh God, George Floyd, because what he saw play out on the TV, which happened in the last year or two, was happening to him.
Back in March, a Hardin County grand jury decided to not charge any of the officers involved. Clarke's family and his girlfriend's family say they're now asking for justice in this case.
His prior conduct with his girlfriend doesn't mean that they can show up and brutally beat him.
Valerie Chin, WDRB News.